Hey people, it's Ed Marshmallow Bud here. I've lost count of the number of times that the viewers have asked me the question,
what is the most comfortable running shoe?
I mean, comfort can mean lots of things to lots of different people. It could be pillowy soft squash in the midsole, a really nice plush upper with padding and silky materials. It could be that it means the shoe's lightweight or very breathable. All these things are considered in today's video. The most comfortable running shoes on the market in 2024. Well, not always for running. You might just want to wear them to walk down the shops. Let's get to it. Thanks for tuning in, people, and supporting the channel. Hit that subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up like. Comment too, I think that helps with the algorithm. That's why lots of actual real people watch this channel rather than like bots and stuff. Danke schön. We're talking about the most comfortable running shoes on the market in 2024. I think I've got to start with the Asics Gel Nimbus 26. Flight Foam Blast Plus in the midsole on this one. Very soft, it's very forgiving, especially in the heel, which has got this sort of encapsulated pure gel unit, which adds to that sort of compressive squash. Really does work and benefit the shoe, certainly on sort of recovery runs and easier efforts. I think if you're after maximal levels of squash and comfort, then the Nimbus 26 is definitely worth a look. If you're standing up on your feet all day, perhaps you're in a retail job or something, then I think this one could really do the business. The upper's not too bulky. You do get this sort of knit material through the tongue, over the top of the foot. I think that improves breathability a little bit, especially if you're using it as a running shoe. Though with a lot of cushion does come quite a bit of weight. This one's over 350 grams in my UK 11 or US 12. So if you're on the lighter side, then it might be a little bit bulky, but I really love putting this one on. Certainly after some really testing sessions, if I'm going to run some easy miles, then it's my go-to shoe. So that's first up on the list, the Nimbus 26. Moving on, we've got the Supernova Rise from Adidas. Now, initially, this one really didn't blow me away. I wasn't too sure about it. I found it was perhaps a little bit too stable for me running wise. It's got these sort of foam rods here, kind of stabilizes things a bit too much for me. It kind of nullified the very cushioned properties that the shoe has. But I have to say, using it on the treadmill for a few runs and just some daily activities, it really is sort of coming to the fore. The midsole in the Supernova Rise is a Puma based blend. That's the same type of stuff that Nike use in those top race models like the Vaporfly Next Percent and also the Alphafly. The Puma foam is very soft, it's very compressive and squashy, super cushioned. It just increases the overall sort of comfort of the shoe. I think maybe not my first choice if I was going to be running at pace or something, but certainly for those easier efforts and just kind of daily activities, it really is lovely and soft. It's also at a really good price actually too. It hits the mark for comfort without being too dense, which the Nimbus 26 is. I do have to mention the Nike Invincible Run 3 here. That is one of the kings of all underfoot feel. Lots of width in that one too, in the forefoot and the heel. Probably one of the best for absolute cushion, comfort and fatigue lessening abilities. Certainly when you consider the weight and the compression that's there. I think if you're on your feet all day, then the Invincible Run 3 could really help out. It leaves you feeling just that, really. Invincible. Not overtly plush either. Aside from the tongue, the material within the upper not too thick and easily enough outsole there to supply you with some good durability over time. Though the price is higher on the Invincible, same as the Nimbus 26 really. 175 Earth credits is quite a lot of cash, but I think you'll get loads and loads of use out of the Invincible Run 3. I've tried all three versions out actually, and I've kind of enjoyed all of them. I think more the 2 and the 3 rather than the 1 had a few upper issues there, but I can certainly recommend it for cushion and comfort. What's next? One coming in from Puma now. This is the Magnify Nitro 2. I think if you don't want to shell out that 175 for the Invincible Run 3, then the Magnify Nitro 2's got a whole bunch of cushion for you. Yes, the Nitro foam in the Magnify Nitro 2 here is a little bit denser than that ZOOMX stuff, though you get more stability and consistency underfoot with this foam. Upper's nice and plush, you still get a bit of that knit material through the middle of the shoe there and the tongue, and at the toe box area as well, so perhaps if you've got more voluminous toes toes, or perhaps a slightly wider foot, I think the Magnify could work really well for you. The overall fit is on point here, and the stack is a manageable one. It doesn't feel like you're on top of a skyscraper or anything like that. If you're going to use it for running, it's certainly a more sort of long-range, slower run shoe, or perhaps one for those easy recovery type efforts. Some really good bargains on this one as well these days. If you hunt around, you can easily pick it up for under £80. So the Magnify Nitro 2 from Puma is definitely on my list. Got to give a shout out to two Saucony shoes now, the Triumph 21 and also the Ride 17. Now the Triumph 21 for me is a more out and out running shoe. It does have a more considerable drop this time, 10 mils. It just feels a bit more prominent as well on foot rather than the Ride 17. I think that's an 8 mil drop. I think the Ride is more of the shoe you can do practically anything with, really. If you're going to mainly be doing running and you want that sort of maximal cushion feel, then go for the Triumph. The Power Run Plus foam that you get in both of these shoes is one of these pellet based ones with lots of compression, though it's still dense enough that it doesn't present any sort of stability issues. A lot of people found the ZOOMX in something like the Invincible Run, for example, to be just a little bit too compressive. You get a bit more sort of response back from this stuff here in the Saucony shoe. There's some great light and breathable uppers on both of these Sauconys as well. I think if I was going to have one or the other, it'd probably have to be the Ride 17 in fact, though both of these Saucony efforts are on the slightly heavier side if you are going to be using them for running predominantly. I think if you're on your feet all day and you want sort of like a multi-use, very comfortable shoe, then the Ride 17 or the Triumph 21 could do a good job. Again, there's some good deals on the Triumph 21 right now, so keep your eyes peeled out there. Though at retail, the Ride 17 was that little bit cheaper than the Triumph 21. So definitely both of these on the sort of plush and very comfortable list for 2024. I mean, the stack on this thing is quite considerable. Just a quick extra inclusion here, the Nike Sreakfly. Kind of a bit overlooked this one, I suppose, because you've got like the Vaporfly and the Alphafly. People don't really talk about this one all that much. You do have a ZOOMX only midsole here, so perhaps if you don't want to shell out all that cash for the Invincible Run 3, then you could pick this one up on a discount. You sometimes see it just hovering around about 100 Earth credits here in the UK. A thinner slab of that ZOOMX and a really breathable upper. It's very, very thin and flexible. I think if you're lighter, you're going to be moving around all day and you don't want that massive sort of clunky stack underfoot, then the Sreakfly could probably do it for you. There is like a shank plate in here, but it's not all that noticeable if you're just wearing it, you know, for daily stuff. It's a great running shoe as well for low distance efforts. Perhaps if you're doing park runs or doing some work on the track, this Sreakfly could really come in handy. Really good ridged outsole here. Reminds me of the Tempo Next Percent and the Alphafly. So go check that one out, the Sreakfly from Nike. Last up, but by no means least, if you want something a little bit different, you know, this is kind of like the outsider, you know, on the fringe, I think it's worth picking up the Cloud Eclipse. Now this shoe features a new On technology. It's the Cloud Tech Phase system, which has these kind of slanted cutouts in the midsole. It's a very compressive domino-like effect. As your weight kind of compresses these down, you get sort of pushed forward slightly. As with any new tech, I was a little bit like, does this actually work? But it does on foot. I'm really quite intrigued by it. It's interesting, it's refreshing, it's a bit different to the sometimes puffy quicksand-like midsoles that we've got in a lot of today's shoes. I can see why they might not be for everybody, but I can heartily say that within the On running arsenal, this is definitely one of my favourites right now. Genuinely brings something new to the table in terms of cushion. The foam in this shoe isn't like the others in today's video. It's more a rubberized formula, though it sort of compresses and returns to form in a really characterful way. I found it really comfortable on foot, though do be aware that there is a plate which is located quite close to the ground between like the heel and the midfoot. Can be a little bit more rigid than some of the other shoes in my video today. I think it's there to give a bit of torsional rigidity there so the shoe just doesn't sort of flap around. This one's a little bit more minimal in the heel and certainly in the tongue, but with that typical running shoe weight here, you get a really interesting sort of cushion. It's just something a little bit different. So that's my last one on the list, the Cloud Eclipse. I've got to be honest, there's very few shoes I've tested over the last 5 years that I would call uncomfortable really on foot. I wouldn't suggest any of the out-and-out race shoes with carbon plates and things in this category. I've tried to include stuff you can actually wear on a sort of daily basis if you're stood up for hours on end. I think it's hard to go wrong with any of the options in the video today, and there's lots of similar models that some of the manufacturers have in their lineups. Let me know your out and out most comfortable running shoes and why down in the comments. Quick musical interlude for you. Today it's from Ben Folds with his fantastic album Rockin' the Suburbs. There's loads of great songs on this album. I keep going back to it, you know, every sort of couple of years and take them in again, and it still sounds just as good now. Kind of timeless quality about some of the production. Really quite aggressive production as well on this one. The drums are really in your face, the pianos sort of chime and slam. It's really great. One of my favourites on this one is called Not the Same. Appears to be all about someone who sort of turns to religion, completely changes like overnight. Listen to the words, it is quite interesting. The two tracks at the start of the album though really show you what you're going to get on this one. Annie Waits and then Zach and Sarah have this incredible energy. Really some of Ben Folds' best work I think that he's done. Do go and check it out. I think it's from 2001 this one. Ben Folds with Rockin' the Suburbs. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. Help to lift us to the toppermost of the poppermost by giving this video a thumbs up, like, but also commenting below. It really helps out. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you